I literally drink all the tea, so I'm just trying to get an intro in, and I filmed this about 5 times. So here we are. Here's the tea. Hi guys, today I'm going to be talking about my experience almost being robbed in Paris. It was quite the experience, I gotta say. Without further ado, here is my story. I was in Paris on a wonderful, beautiful day in the summer of 2019, before all of this madness that we have experienced in 2020. What a time it was. I decided I was going to go on a walk because I might have had a mild addiction to bread at the time. Might have is kind of an understatement. I was consuming mass amounts of French bread or French baguettes. It is so hard to resist. It's so cheap and freshly made. It's hard not to want to eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And one day I actually did that. I realized that after eating so much bread and all the food I was eating, maybe it was good for me to probably exercise. It'd probably be good for me to exercise. So I decided to go for a walk in the gardens of Luxembourg, or rather the Luxembourg Gardens. I had been there once before on a separate trip, and they're quite honestly amazing and astonishing, beautiful, all the wonderful synonyms of its beauty. It's so beautiful there just to walk around. A lot of people, if you guys don't already know, the Luxembourg Gardens it's kind of like a park where a lot of locals like to go to for a walk. They go with their kids to play with them. Some people go for a run. Other people just go to sit down and read a book or a newspaper. It's a very nice set of gardens. It's very large. There's some fountains you can go to and take pictures at. So it's a very nice place to hang out at. I decided I would get dressed in the morning and go for a run. The thing is, I know it sounds lame, but I felt kind of self-conscious about the fact that I was wearing a fanny pack and exercise clothes. For some reason, no one else was wearing like exercise attire to the park. So I kind of felt self-conscious, like I'm gonna be out here in the park making music with my fanny pack and keys inside of it, running around, and I'm gonna feel weird. So I decided I would just sit down on the bench and look at my phone. I'm looking at my phone, and then all of a sudden I noticed these two guys, and they sit down next to me. In my peripheral vision, I can see them, and they sit down next to me on the bench. Now, that may seem normal to some, but for me, it came off kind of weird because I noticed there were a bunch of other empty benches and I was sitting on this bench alone. So it kind of seemed like a little off to me. I felt like something was off and my gut was already kind of throwing up the red flags, ringing the alarms. But here's the other thing. I didn't want to come off rude. I imagine if you sat down next to someone, motorcycles. I imagine when you sit down next to someone let's just think of a hypothetical situation. If you sat down right next to someone in a room full of people and there was only one seat left next to some random person, you sat down next to them and they got up as soon as you sat down, I would imagine it would make you feel a little self-conscious. You might think to yourself, like, gee, like, is my breath kicking? Like, did I put on deodorant today? Are my feet stinking? Like, what's happening? What is off about me that's causing this person to want to move? So I don't want to be that person and make them feel self-conscious or feel weird or make it seem like I was trying to avoid them. In reality, I was planning to get up and leave. In my head, I was thinking, well, I'll just pretend to be looking at my phone and get up in a minute or two. So I'm thinking 1, 2, 3 minutes. I'm just going to count down in my head and pretend to look at my phone. So right before I can even finish my thought, and so I'm like, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, looking at my phone. All of a sudden I hear bam, like stop, like or they're just yelling something in French. I just hear these police officers yelling in French. I am in a state of shock at this point. Like a lot of this, like from this point, it's a little bit of a blur because it was just so much happening at the same time. Like I kind of remember everything before that point pretty clearly. But like once the police officers started to come, it was kind of all blur. They got these guys and they were talking to them, pulled them aside. I'm just standing there like, you know, at the bench, just looking at what's going on. I'm in a state of shock. It's like, you have to think about it. I came to this park to exercise or to relax and look at my phone. And all of a sudden I'm in a mix of this madness that's going on that happened and transpired within the span of possibly 5 minutes. So this happened pretty quickly. All of a sudden the police officer calls me over. Oh my goodness. I walk over there and the police officer's saying something in French and I'm just like, and so then he translates into English. You should check to make sure that they haven't taken anything from you. I look at my purse and they haven't taken anything from me. I'm so grateful. It seems like what they were planning to do was to maybe rob me, but right before they were getting ready to rob me, the police officers were already there. So I guess that just goes to show you, listen to your gut. I wish I was like I didn't care about being rude. And also, it also goes to show that space matters. That whole thing with the guy sitting next to me was equivalent of someone going to the bathroom stall and it's all empty and all the stalls have just been cleaned. All the stalls have just been cleaned and they decide to go to the stall right next to you. That feels off, okay? It's not just because I'm an introvert, but like, I feel like there's this unspoken rule that like, if there's enough space for everybody to keep space between each other, you should take that space of your own. Keep the space, people. I guess I was a pioneer. I was keeping social distance before it was even mandated. But that being said, I'm really grateful I didn't get robbed. I have some other stories like related to me almost being robbed, but I hope you guys liked that story today. And if you liked it, please leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.